Hello, everybody, and welcome out to a new episode of the Pod of War Gamescast. I'm your host, EOF Gizmo, joined this week by the dancing dog, that is CW Lanky,
Hello.
and the man, the myth, the legend. It's massive Das, Chris Bengelli.
Hello.
So another week, guys, we're hot off the heels of Chris's breakout video about his Steam Deck unboxing where he compared it to a Game Boy, and it was very exciting, but we'll talk more about the Steam Deck and Penguin later. Before we get into too many of our little mini topics of the show, let's go to Craigo because he's listening to Toto. We need to bring him back. Craigo, what have you been playing? What have you bought this calendar week?
So I think I bought nothing to the K. In terms of playing, I've finished Far Cry Boys. I've done it. I got there. I think it was 36 hours in total. Like I finished with like 600G as well, which it says is like a really low percentage on the actual Xbox because there's like 6 million DLC packs for that game, and they would have achievements, obviously. 600 is not bad for what I did. I did like obviously all the main stuff, most of the side quests, which they call the Yaran quests, other than the ones which are just kind of like go here and collect this, and there's like 20 of them. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Nah. So I did all the actual good worthwhile ones of them. I did enough of like the outposts and the bases so I would get the achievements, but again, I'm not going to all of them on the map because it's just no point. Once you've done one, you've done them all. I kind of stuck more to the fun stuff, like there's the treasure hunts, which are actually really good because they have quite a lot of platforming and puzzles and stuff like that, which are really fun. And the races, I did pretty much all the races because the races are just brilliant. He doesn't want to do like a hovercraft through a minefield or something. I was, having a time limit. It's great shit.
Pengy doesn't
Oh yeah. No, he doesn't want to do any of that. So I started a few new things. I started Grid Legends.
Will you be playing any of the million packs of DLC of the game?
No, I don't tend to do DLC on Ubisoft games. To be honest with you, even like the ones that I like really like Assassin's Creed Odyssey's got like 6 million DLCs, and I haven't done any of them. Mainly because I think the main games are normally pretty lengthy, and the DLCs just tend to be more, from what I can see, just more of the same. So I'm normally just like, nah, I'm good. I'll move on. So yeah, I probably won't do that. I'll probably end up selling it. I think it's only bought for a tenner. Who knows? I might make some money on it. I don't know what it's going for at the moment. So yeah, no DLC for me on there, Pengy. So yeah, I started Grid Legends. Really kind of just fun, kind of stripped back racing game, to be honest with you. Has some weird full motion video like cutscenes in between, which are actually quite cool. So it breaks it up, and at the moment I'm just doing like the main story mode, and it is literally like you'll do a race, but the race you don't even have to select the track or the car; it just puts you straight into a race. You start, and there's a little cutscene, little build up whilst it's loading in of, all right, we've got to try and beat this person now, or they're the rivals. They've said this about your team or whatever. And then it just pops you straight back into another race. You don't have to pick a track or a car. It's quite just kind of, you just keep on, quite a nice flow to it. You just race cutscene. You don't have to think too much. I started it on normal difficulty, or medium, I think it's called. I've found that I've had to pop it up to hard now just because I was just blitzing people. And I was like, I need a bit of challenge here. Need a bit of tension in these races.
Craig played the racing game before.
Yeah, and even at hard, I find it's fairly like I'm still winning, but like they're close to me. It's like, if I mess up, they overtake me, which is nice. It does have like a rewind feature, like Forza, and I think most racing games tend to now, other than the the hardcore rally sims that Dave is all about.
Well, Grid did invent it. Grid was the first game to have it, so
there you go. They started the trend. So it has that if you do, mess up too badly and you don't want to have to restart and do all the laps again. So yeah, I'm enjoying that at the moment. Just playing through the story. I don't think it's too long. I don't know what more content it has after that, but I'll have a little look, see if there's any achievements I can get, I'm sure, as well.
There's a full career mode. I'd looked for you. There's a career
There you
mode.
go.
That's where all the achievements are, basically. Not. I don't think there's any online ones. So,
This is what you want.
which is what you want
This
to
is
hear.
what you
Which is
want.
what you want to hear.
And then the only other thing I've played is I've started Immortality, which I don't actually know how many hours into this I am. I'd say like 3 or 4. It's really hard to tell because it's not obviously it's not like playing like a normal game. I don't think it tells you anywhere either. It's best not to really talk about it too much or listen to people talk about it too much because it's best to see you in like as blind as possible. But I'm definitely I'm really into it so far, really enjoying it. I actually played one of this guy's other games. It's Telling Lies. What's this dude's name? Pengy, is it
Sam Barlow.
Sam Barlow, yeah. It's basically if you've played any of his games before and you liked them, you will definitely like this. It's more of the same and it's probably better. So it's quite a lot of twists in it, quite a lot of weird stuff going on as well. So yeah, I'm hooked. I'm all over that, but I don't want to talk about it too much because it's just better not to. And that's it for me, I think.
Very nice. Very nice, Pengy. Obviously, other than the main topic, what have you been playing?
Yeah. So apart from on the deck, I've played some Splatoon 3 on Switch, where I've played, the multiplayer. This weekend is the first weekend of the first Splatfest, so I'll play some Splatfest and actually see what the freeway Splatfest is like thing. So some might play, and I started the single player as well, where they've changed it slightly to the previous games. It's still sort of like level based, like Super Mario 64 or Sunshine. You go into the kettle, and then you get your level, and they're like 2 or 3 minutes long. There's a few bit. But in Splatoon 1 and 2, you like once you've done the level, you got like the sap fish at the end. And you need like a certain amount to something up. They've changed it to like these eggs, and you get like a certain amount of eggs when you do the level, and you get some in the level, and you give them to like this little salmon like guy called Small Fries, like his sister. And in the main like overworld where all these like levels are, there's like fur. If you walk into fur, it turns you into like a big fluffy creature, and you're a mammal. You now become a mammal, and that's bad. But you
What,
can
like
chuck,
Mr. Fluff?
yeah, like Mr. Fluff. But you can chuck small fry at these balls, and then the fluff disappears, and you can move on. Well, they've done it like a Mario game or whatever, where you've played Super Mario 64, like Dave, where you're like, oh, you only need 30 stars for whatever to get to the end. You don't need like all 100 or whatever, and same thing. So you got like all your different worlds, and it's like, oh, I need to get to the end. You get like your 2,000 eggs or whatever. So you can play it anyway. So I've actually got to site 5. It looks like it says if you go onto like the map on the menu, it's like site 6, but there's like a big one in the middle. So I'm guessing there's actually 7, and I think there's only like 5 or 6 boss sites. I just had a cool one thing. So I've only done like a few levels because I've like got enough eggs to move on to the next site. I'm hoping once you've like finished the game or you do like the last boss, all the fur disappears and you can actually see all the levels and you can just jump into them, and they're only like a few minutes long, so it's quite like good, 'cause I got the game digitally, so it's just like jump in, do a couple of levels, and then pop up. But they've been quite, pretty fun. It is more Splatoon, so if you didn't like the single player in Splatoon 1 or Splatoon 2, yeah, most probably not gonna like it here because it's like, it's the same sort of like weird platforming shooting thing. Oh, gotta get to the end of the map. This, shoot my, shoot the ink on the floor or the targets, or just do like the zip line things, and it introduces some of the new mechanics and stuff, like some of the new specials, like, oh, this level you have to use the Zapcaster and stuff to finish the level, which then I guess then turns into the multiplayer, like, oh, okay, I really like the Zapcaster, gonna have that as like one of my ultimates for the multiplayer. You also got Salmon Run, which is like the Horde mode, if you don't know what that is, which I have not touched at all yet, because I've just been playing single player and like the standard regular multiplayer, which I think I've played like 50 games, which sounds quite a lot, but they're only like 3 minutes. So they're like game and stuff like that. So Splatoon is good. It's still a good weird Nintendo third person shooter, and with the event coming up and more of them, and sort of thing. I've gone for which one did I go for? I went for Gear because the character, because they all three of them have a different one. She had Big Man wanted to go fun, and she was like, "So you're gonna be on a desert island and you're gonna play cards with a caterpillar? That's dumb. Or you're gonna run out of food. If you go for Gear, you can do your own food and stuff like that. Logic. There's logic from the Nintendo characters.
I mean, it's just sad you didn't go for Jeffy Grub, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but once you've run out of grub, what do you do there?
You wait
It's
for
true.
Metroid Prime trilogy and Zelda to come out, Chris. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Is there do you think there's enough like new stuff there in the game?
So far at the moment, I'm not playing the new free player mode. Like the free sort of thing.
Pengy's
It
kind of
doesn't.
the worst person to ask, to be honest.
Oh, I know, but
Yeah.
he's our only reference point, Dave. So.
Yeah, it's a hard one because there is some new maps, there are some old maps.
If it's a hard one, does that mean it's a no?
It's a no sort of thing, but then it's like same with like Call of Duty would be like this year, and it's like, is it any different than last year's Call of Duty? Like it's got a different story mode, it's got different maps, but it's still what it is fundamentally at the end of the day.
That's fair. Splatoon's a funny one. I don't know. I think the core game is always going to be roughly the same. Like the biggest change this time is the 3-player thing. Obviously, you haven't tried that yet. Salmon Run seems like it's a bit more fleshed out. For someone like Craig,
Yeah, because you can do Salmon Run at any time as well now.
Yeah, for someone like Craig, like Splatoon 3 he'd probably like because he hasn't played Splatoon 1 and 2 to death. Whereas like I've played Splatoon 1 and 2 to death. So like Splatoon 3 doesn't really tickle my fancy. Although I'm sure it's a great game.
Mm.
Yeah,
see, like with 1 and 2, I basically done the single player, played a bit of multiplayer, and that was it. Where I
the
again
Pengy
having
way,
it like
the Pengy way.
and again now having this one like digitally, it's a Splatfest this week. Right, let's jump on. Let's go with this team or whatever.
Indeed. Was that all, Pengy? Was that what you've bought and
No,
played?
I also played some. I don't know if I played any last week, but I played like 4 or 5 hours. I'm on chapter 3 of the new voice of cards. That's Beast of Burden is the subtitle with this one. So there's another like games master. So you got a woman doing the voiceover this time. So this is the third different one. I don't know who does the voice. I don't recognize her voice. So you got her different this time. Instead of like the last one, who's obviously was on the sea and stuff, it's like a sand sea, and you have like a sand skiff which you move around. It is obviously very similar to the last two, where everything is obviously is card based and stuff. But what they've done different this one, you attack and that with the monsters in the game, so you can actually, hence the title, I guess, Beast of Burden. You can actually collect the cards of the monsters in the game, and then you can basically make a deck of You don't get as many as like you would get in like a Pokemon trading card game where you have like 50, 60 cards. You have like 3 on your like each party member. So you have, your 4 party members, you have 3 cards, and you have one has a wolf, one has, the little blob that does poison and all that and sort of thing. Yeah, it's pretty good. I still think so far the second one, which also came out this year, came out in February, it's the better game at the moment, but maybe things will change. Because I've seen a couple of reviews for this one where they're saying this is the best of the 3, but I'm on chapter 3 of 7 chapters, I believe. So anything might change.
Lovely.
It's still good, even like just being 3 chapters in of it. It's just, if you said, "Oh, which one's better, 2 or 3?" I'd go 2 at the moment. I've still yet to play the first one, so maybe that's actually the best one, but who knows?
Yeah, the first one I 100% completed, and I loved it.
Mm.
Even got the secret ending, did all the side quests.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite games I've played this year. It didn't come out this year, so I can't say it's my game of the year. But ones I've played this year, it's absolutely up there. So yeah, I will definitely get to the other 2 at some point. And again, like they're not really Krago's type of game, although the short
They're like,
JRPGs, so they could make it.
yeah.
I think it took
The
about
saying
10
that
hours.
the second one was like 25 hours long, but it didn't have like the whole Yoko, like you're saying, the secret ending of the first one. The second one didn't have that. It basically had one ending and sort of thing, but it was like double the length. But then I've seen reviews of this one saying it's a short JRPG, but 20 hours is kind of short for a JRPG as well. If it is that long, I don't know. It might only be like 10 or 15.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Are you done then, Pengy? Until we get to your topic
Nope.
later? No. Okay.
One thing.
He carries on.
Um, So it's a pickup, but it's on the shelf somewhere. Which came today, but I actually played the demo on Monday, which might sound a bit daft, but the demo's been out for like a month, and it carries over to the main game, and that's Starfield Chronicles. So I just thought I'll play the demo on Monday, and then when the game arrives for Friday, I've given myself a little bit of a no, Thursday, I should say, give myself a little bit of a head start sort of thing. I know I could have played the demo a month ago, but I mostly would have forgotten all the mechanics and what was happening and everything if I played it a month ago, sort of thing. So basically just give myself a head start. And the demo is about 4.5 hours long. It's the first chapter of the game. Really good. So like I could have played the demo and gone, oh, I hate this. And I got it coming on Thursday. Yeah, but I actually really liked it. And the demo, I got it on Switch. It is a strategy game. I was gonna say think Fire Emblem or something, but it plays quite differently because it's in real time as well. So your characters do move, but like you can pause the like when you go to like attack or whatever, it pauses the thing, and you got a timer in the like corner, and like a lot of the missions have like sub objectives, like finish the mission in 3 minutes. I'm like, how am I gonna finish that in 3 minutes? But like when you like click on your character, the timer pauses, and then obviously you get your options of like attack, use your magic, or you use a potion or whatever. Then once you've done that, the characters will keep moving and stuff like that. And you only have 4 at a time in the game, and you can have like ones paired with them, but you don't see the paired ones on the map. Only if you use their special sort of thing. It's got a few other Fire Emblem elements, like it's in like you're in this base, you can walk around the base, everything's all the different characters, and you can upgrade the shop, and like free houses, you walk around Garrick markets, similar to that. It's very JRPG, very strategy. It's another Square Enix game because I can't play enough Square Enix games. Yeah, but from the demo, really good. I think the demo's free. It's like 4 hours, so it's quite chunky. It's worth checking out. It's on all formats as well, so it's not like it's like live just on Switch or whatever. Yeah. So now it's come the like full game. I've loaded up my save. So on chapter 2, from the start, and I will continue playing that on my Switch. So
Lovely.
yeah.
Lovely. This is the first 15-minute section of Pengy. There will be a second 15-minute section of Pengy later on.
Yeah.
Right, well, before we get to that, I suppose we can talk about what I've bought, what I've played. So the only game I have purchased, actually I've purchased 2 games this week, is Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure on the GameCube,
Nice.
which is my girlfriend's favorite game from her childhood, and we're having a games night, so I did pick that up. It was more expensive than it should be, but this is the life of GameCube games. So
Isn't that about like 20, 30 quid?
I managed to get it for 17, which
Hmm.
was very much below market price. But yes, there you go. I'm sure it'll be worth it. And the other game I've bought for that evening is the Simpsons game on the Wii, because I wanted to buy Hit and Run, but I'm not spending 45 quid on a GameCube game in 2022. So I bought Simpsons for the Wii for
Yeah.
£3 instead, which I think is a fair deal, to be honest, boys. So that's what I bought. Awfully
Yeah.
exciting, I know.
Which one was the taxi game?
That's
Road
Simpsons
Rage.
Road Rage I do already own, which is a fantastic
I
game.
remember playing the hell out of that as a
It's a
kid.
fantastic game. That is over.
Yeah.
I can see it from here because that's one that I'm gonna play. We're gonna play tomorrow night. Simpsons Road Rage. We got Mario
Great
and
choice.
Sonic at the Olympics. What else we got over there? got WarioWare, we got Mario Kart Double Dash, we got all kinds of good stuff, boys. All kinds of good stuff. But in terms of what I've been playing, it's been a JRPG week for Dave. So immediately after the episode that never was that me and Craig recorded, I started playing Ni no Kuni Remastered on the Xbox, and I'm absolutely loving that game. I've played it before, I never finished it. It's a very, very, very good looking Studio Ghibli led level 5 JRPG. It's got monster collecting, all that kind of good stuff. It looks and runs fantastically on the Series X. Obviously, the load time improvement is the biggest improvement completely, because I'd played it on Switch before, which was quite slow going in between battles and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's a really great game. And I highly recommend it to everyone that has an Xbox and that even has a moderate interest in JRPGs, because it's a very good game. Like it might even be the best game that's been put on the Xbox this year. The way, like in all honesty, so far. Obviously, we've got Persona 5 Royal next month, so that could change. But yeah, I do recommend it. It's one that I do recommend for Craig, because I know he hasn't played it. I think he would actually quite like it, considering he liked the second one. I think the first one is a better game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. And the only other game I've been playing, Chris, this will
Mm.
interest you slightly. Playing a game on my Switch, my
Okay.
Nintendo Switch. I have been playing Paper Mario on the N64 Switch
Okay.
Online, because I've been meaning to play the first game. I've obviously I missed it when it came out because it was quite a late N64 game. And my friend Pete has a mint boxed edition of it. I hate to know how much that would cost now. But yeah, I started it on Wii U when it came to Wii U, which we're looking at like I don't know, like 7 or 8 years ago now. I just never got around to it. So I had my Switch out. I was like, you know what? I pay for the £30 a year to have all the N64 games and stuff. I might as well play some of the N64 games, and it's been fun so far. Graphically, Paper Mario obviously holds up better than probably every other N64 game, if we're being
Mm.
completely honest with you, because it's obviously 2D. Um, really good, simple battle system. It's a turn-based RPG. It's not massively long. It's about a 20-hour game at most. Like if you're going to play it properly, it's like a 20-hour game. If you're going to play it quick, you can beat it in like 10 hours. But yeah, it's one of those. It's a bit of a hidden gem in a weird way, because I don't think a lot of people have actually played the first Paper Mario. Obviously, like for example, Craig, who likes the N64, he hasn't. I don't even know if he's heard of Paper Mario, let alone if he's played it on the
Oh god, no,
N64.
never played that.
Yeah.
It's all about it's Mario Kart 64 or nothing, Dave.
Well, there's Mario Kart 64 and all the WCW games. That was basically
Right, yeah.
But yeah. So the N64 is starting to have a lot of value, I think, on the online service. So it's just good to play those games. Like the Super Nintendo games, to be honest with you, I've played to death. Like I'd quite like to play Earthbound again, but it's like I'm in no rush to play Earthbound again. So I was like, you
Mm.
know what? JRPGs work the best on Switch because it's handheld. Paper Mario fits perfectly for handheld. I really recommend that game. If you have the subscription and you haven't played that game before, like
Yeah, I haven't played it. Like my first, obviously, Paper Mario game was Thousand Year, Door. So
yeah, which again is obviously Thousand Door is the bigger, better game because it's a sequel. But for a first attempt at a Paper Mario game, Paper Mario One is. I mean, I really like Color
mm,
Splash, but I think most people would probably class it as the second best Paper Mario game, because it's the second most RPG of them. But like, yeah,
mm.
still funny. Like, still got great characters. Still quite simple and fun. Like, yeah, it's a Mario game, right? Mario games are all pretty good. So. But yeah, that's really the only two things that I have been properly playing. There's a couple of little things that I've sort of been around, but I'm not gonna. There's no point talking about them because I've only played them. I'm not gonna do the Chris thing where I played it once and be like, yeah, I've completed Tekken. I played one fight
Mm.
of it, but yeah, lots to play. I do want to do an episode at some point talking about the Switch for like an hour, just all three of us just talking about the Switch, because I think I'm finding it a very fascinating point in its life at the minute, and so it's just kind of fun to talk about it. But we'll save that for another episode. So obviously we're on a limited battery life here, so we're going to go through and do the one other topic before the main topic. So we'll cut the
Mm.
cyberpunk talk because I don't really care. So whatever. So the only other thing we're going to talk about before we talk about Pengy is something kind of Pengy adjacent, and that is
Yeah.
that Xbox and Logitech have joined forces to bring us the Logitech G Cloud handheld system, which is coming to North America in October. It's going to cost either $299 or $349, depending on what model you want. I would imagine for a cloud system, you just get the cheap one because you don't really need the memory. But yeah, so I'm really interested to see what people
Isn't
think.
that also price only for pre-orders, and then once it's out properly, it's more expensive
I
as
mean,
well?
to
Yeah,
be
I think you're
honest,
right.
because it applies to America only, I'm not really. I'm going to presume 349 is the price, and then if it gets a different pricing structure in Europe, then so be
Yeah,
it. But we'll presume
yeah.
we'll just go off that for now, which is about £300. The first person I want to hear about first, actually, I don't want to hear from Pengy just yet. I want to hear from Craig because Craig is the most interesting of us all because he's the most pure Xbox and the least compulsive. So, Craig, what do you think of the Logitech G cloud gaming handheld?
Uh, I mean, it's weird, because this is kind of what like a lot of people were talking about not that long ago, that what Xbox should do themselves. So it does make sense for them to partner with someone, and obviously as Logitech are coming out soonish, to kind of test the waters, I guess. I think it's really exciting. Just the idea of having Game Pass natively. I know it's the cloud, but still having access to all those games natively on a handheld is a really just like cool and fascinating idea. I think there's a lot of games on Game Pass that would probably be better to play handheld than on a a big TV sat down sort of thing. You'd want to lie down in bed, or on your settee kind of sprawled out. You think of your Personas coming out soon. Maybe your Nini Kunis, your Dragon Quest. There's all sorts of like turn-based sort of stuff on Game Pass that you can imagine you could play on this. So yeah, for me, I think it's quite exciting. It does seem very expensive. That is the thing, and obviously it's made by Logitech, who I'm not the PC gaming expert here, as we will get to in a bit, but I think they're fairly renowned for making
Mm.
like good products,
Yeah,
basically. So I'd imagine that's part of the reason why it's
it's
quite expensive.
the real reason why it's expensive, and I'm sure that people will talk of this on podcast, is because Logitech don't have any financial gain from selling it at a loss because they don't get a cut of Xbox games. Whereas the Steam
Yeah.
Deck will be sold at a loss because they get 30% of every game that's sold on Steam. You see what I'm saying? So like that's what consoles have always done. Like the PS5, if they sold the PS5 at how much it costs to make, it would be another £100 again. Like that's just what they always do with manufacturers. It's what killed the 3DO because none of the manufacturers were 3DO, so they had to charge 700 quid for it. For examples, the best example
Obviously,
I have.
the kind of the fascinating thing for me is it's that big upfront cost, but then like for
It's
me,
Game
if I was to
Pass,
buy it,
yeah.
I would never have to buy a game for it ever, because I would just play Game Pass on it,
So the thing I
which
think
is it's quite an interesting
I think the
proposition.
thing that will probably tip you over the edge to getting it, and I think a lot of people are forgetting to talk about, is it's not just a Game Pass machine, it's also a remote play machine. So you don't
Mm.
have to use the internet, you can just use your console and get your games library. So the connection will be more than good enough from your
And
Xbox to
then
your bed, for
Yeah.
example.
and then you would also go beyond Game Pass as well. So Far Cry, for instance, you would remote play it to the
Yeah, so
Logitech.
like well, you don't need to just what Chris is saying is it's your whole library. It's not just your Game Pass
Yeah.
library. So if you want to
Yeah.
play, if you've bought Call of Duty, and well, that's a bad example because they're buying it. If you bought FIFA and you want to play FIFA lying in bed, you can remote play. And it basically just works as your TV. And as someone that's used the Vita remote play quite dramatically, which is obviously a system that is going to be nowhere near as optimized for it as this is, you can play games that way comfortably, and it on bad internet, on bad hubs,
Mm.
like you will not be affected at all. So yeah, I think £300 for me personally. Before we get to Penguin, for me personally, £300 is probably a little bit too much for what I want from it because I've got no problem. If I really want to do that, I've got no problem putting a controller on my phone and just playing that way. Whereas I know that's not an option for Craig.
Oh god, no. I look at my phone and I'm like, I do not want to play games on that. Like, I don't care how good of a snap-on controller you can sell me. I'm looking at it, I'm going, nah. Whereas you show me a picture of that handheld, I'm like, oh, I want to play games on that. That looks
Yeah,
like something I'd play a video game on. But Persona comes out, I'd probably play Persona on that. Look at my phone. You couldn't pay me to bloody play a video game on that.
and that's the
Look at
thing.
it.
And that's the
Oh, I
thing.
got a
Like
big old phone as
you
well. I got
do.
a big old screen on that thing. Like,
Let's say
I'm still just
I
like,
got a
nah.
Pixel 6 and it's like the most
Mm.
optimized phone for it and it's still like a bit dodge. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the thing. Like for someone like you that doesn't buy every console when it comes out, isn't that interested in the Steam Deck, isn't that interested in anything else, like unless they announce a new version of the Series X, which they won't because they can't make the chips, like yeah, why not? If it does come to Europe this year, like I would be fully expecting for us to do a episode of Craig's impressions of the Logitech G. But Pengi, you're obviously, as we're about to talk about, you've just purchased the PC equivalent of this.
Yeah.
So what does the Logitech G do for you?
Not a lot really, because it's there's options. It's all cloud. We're fans of the cloud. We've done like one odd episode of cloud. We've played Stadia.
We have.
We've said if Luna comes to Europe, we try it. We know the cloud does work, but with this, obviously, it's not just obviously Xbox. It's also got GeForce Now is partnering up with them. You can eventually get Stadia
You
running
can
through
because
it through a browser.
it's got
Yeah, I
Google.
think it has natively
It's
Stadia.
it's got
Isn't it?
Google Play Store as
Yeah, and
it's
it's also
Android
got Play
based.
Store. It is Android based, so it
Yeah.
has got memory, so you can actually download
You can
Android.
play
Android.
Angry Birds confirmed natively
Yeah,
if you
so you can
wish.
play Angry Birds actually native
You can
on it, not from Spain.
Minecraft.
Yeah. So, but it is mainly obviously cloud only, which then gets you limited to how we've done some episodes of this podcast where you didn't have very good internet. For instance, Dave, like
Oh
you
yeah.
would not be able to play this
No.
at all because of the internet. So you got to be somewhere with good internet, and that basically also leaves you like being at home with it again, playing in bed like Craig said, and you can remote play. Or if you're taking it somewhere with you or portable, you got to hope they've got good internet as well. If you're going, EGX is this weekend, for instance. So you go onto EGX, you're staying in a hotel in London or whatever. If they got good internet to play this, and it seems quite expensive. Again, the phone bit, I kind of get it. I tried to play Stadia on my phone and stuff like that, and having the controller, and it's like, yeah, it's not fantastic, but it's like 50, 60 quid, I think a backbone is, and you can cloud stream to a laptop or whatever and stuff like that. I think there's other options available than this that are like cheaper, and then at the price $300, whatever, $50 more, you can get you can get a Steam Deck, or you can buy how much is a Switch in America, for instance.
But I can't get Game Pass on the Switch, and I can't get Game
No,
Pass
but
natively on the Steam Deck, and that's the
yeah, but
problem,
it's
isn't it?
not native. It's through the cloud. Where I'm saying like these games, on the Steam Deck and the Switch would be native. Where you haven't got like
But
the
not Game Pass.
partial issues of like the
This
internet.
is the problem you're missing here, Pengi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's smart to
If it
brand.
was proper, if it was proper native Game Pass, then I would think this is amazing. Like you're actually downloading Forza on it. If they came out with like an Xbox Steam Deck with with like Xbox hardware, like a Series S or something spec inside a console for like 400 quid of whatever, because the Steam Deck, that would be amazing, native and like that. But being cloud only, there is a lot of caveats. Like, have I got good enough internet? Like, do we know Craig's got good enough internet to play through cloud, for instance?
I would imagine so. I think as well, like
Yeah,
it's never going to suit you anyway because you play games on your TV at all times. So it's not like
pretty much.
it's not for you. For ironically, it is for
No.
Craig, but it's not for you, which is funny because it's cloud. But
Weirdly, it's not for the most handheld of us, which is Pengi, obviously. He's Mr. Handheld, but not Mr.
Yeah.
Handheld at the same
yeah,
time.
he's Mr.
Yeah.
Handheld. He's Mr. Switch. He's Mr. Hybrid, but he's not Mr. Handheld.
Mr. Buy a handheld and plug it into a TV.
Which
Yeah.
we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, I think if it was 250, I don't think people would be having this discussion about it. Or if it was 350 and it comes with a case, or it was 350 and it comes with 6 months of Game Pass, etc., etc. But I mean, again, like Craig said, the overhead if you're a Game Pass player is that you're not buying games for it. Kind of makes the price come down because you're like, so if you buy a Switch, you can buy a Switch Lite for £200 now, right? But
Yeah.
every single game is £40. So if you
Yeah,
buy
I
10, if you buy 10 games, that's for another £400. Whereas on this, it's literally like if you're gonna play it at home anyway, like if you're gonna use either Remote Play or Game Pass, like you can get it doesn't just give you Game Pass on console as well, it gives you PC Game Pass. So you'll be able to, so for example, Craig will be able to play Death Stranding, which he can't play on his console. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And then obviously it gets better every year. I personally, I think I would buy it for remote play more than I'd buy it for Game Pass.
Mm.
Because I'd get Game Pass from remote play anyway. Like for me, it's the lying on the sofa, lying in bed machine that would interest me more than the going outside and tethering it to my phone or whatever. Like being able to, I loved that feature on the Vita a lot. I used it a lot for a lot of games. Like, so to be able to have a good feeling proper controller for that, it would be pretty cool. But again, I probably won't buy it if it comes out this year. Like, I'd be interested to see Craig's thoughts on it in physical when he got it to his hand and see how it actually works. And obviously, Pengy, it's you've just bought a version that is more for you anyway, so it's fine. So without further
It's a
ado,
really
go on.
interesting just thing coming to the market, and
We knew
it's
they were
interesting
going
to
to
see
do
like
something
what
cloud. I'm
happens.
surprised that they did this before the dongle, to be honest, because they've been talking about a dongle for a while, like a cloud plug into your TV dongle. And I know they've got the Samsung TV deal, so it's just like Phil said 3 years ago. He's not competing with Sony. He's not competing with Nintendo. He's competing with Amazon. He's competing with Google, and Google's already been crushed. So it's like, right, so it's Tencent and Amazon and probably Apple. Like I kind of feel like Apple will be doing something similar soon, very soon. I mean, especially because they make their own chip now and they make their own screens. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there is an Apple Cloud machine or an Apple Cloud service fairly soon. Now the thought of Apple has killed Pengy. He doesn't like that.
Oh yeah, fuck Apple. Am I right?
He doesn't like that at all. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I want you to get it because I just want to have someone on this podcast to have it, and I can't really justify it. So, and I'd love to hear about you
Yeah,
playing Persona in bed.
but you're talking about the Switch earlier, and my discussion of the Switch would be very brief because it's gathering dust. I'll be honest. So it could be a
Uh,
Switch
I
replacement. Who knows? Could be.
ironically, I lost internet there, so
Thank God we weren't recording this via the Logitech G then, Pengy. So
mm,
before Pengy's internet dies or before my battery runs out on this laptop, whichever's going to go first,
yeah,
Pengy, tell us about the Steam Deck. Obviously, we've done the video on the channel where Chris unboxes
yeah.
it and take a look. It's a very popular video, and obviously Pengy compares it to lots of things. It's a great bit of content. But Pengy, what's your first sort of week's impressions of the Steam Deck?
Yeah, I haven't actually played a huge amount of it because obviously it came that day, did my unboxing and stuff like that, and then turned it on. It wanted to do an update right away. Like any system now, you at day one, there's an update for.
Look at this. It's his whole show is built around Pengy telling us about the Steam Deck.
I thought that was my internet for a second. I was really
No, it's
confused.
Pengy. It's Pengy's dying.
Do we have to pretend to be Chris to basically review the Steam
Well, the
Deck for
problem
him?
is like I'm running out of battery here. I might have to go and pause this and get the battery charge. I got 23% left. But yeah, obviously I like the Steam Deck. Yeah, I like buying games full price, obviously. But yeah, I mean we
He
can talk.
has I mean he's had the full PC experience I think so far, and
Well, he's
he's
had to
yeah
install drivers and games don't work. I mean, I suppose we can talk about would we be interested in the Steam Deck? I kind of know the answer, to be honest, for you. For me personally, like I've had the opportunity to purchase one twice, and both times I've been like, nah, I'm good. Just seems like another platform to spend money on, really. Like I've already got 3 platforms I spend money on now, so it's like even Football Manager this year, I've taken the bold step of cancelling my pre-order, and I'm just going to play it on Game Pass because I've got Game Pass for 2 years. I have a Windows laptop, which unfortunately is just upgraded itself to Windows 11, which looks like a Mac. It's weird.
that's a bold step, Dave. When's the last time you didn't purchase Football Manager?
To 1995.
Crikey.
It's the last time that I've not purchased
That's
a
hilarious.
copy of Championship or Football Manager. I mean, I'm not saying I won't purchase a Steam copy of it down the line, but right now, that £30 can go into elsewhere. So I'm going to use my 2-year Game Pass subscription. I'm going to play it on Xbox. Get achievements. I mean, I've got a ridiculously high achievement ranking for the one that I played last year. So, but yeah.
Yeah. For me, it all comes down to if it had Game Pass. If this had Game Pass, I would 100% get this over the Logitech, obviously, because spending that little bit extra money to get the fact that it's not just cloud and access to Steam. Not that I'd use Steam that much. I highly doubt anyway.
No.
But yeah, Chris is back now. So Chris,
We've filled air for you, Chris, and you're bad in that. So can you, before we
Yeah,
die
I don't
again,
know why, because I'm getting like 80 megs a second, so I don't know why I keep disconnecting as well. So that's weird, and it's been fine all day because I've downloaded stuff today on like my Steam Deck, for instance. So very, very odd. Yeah, so I was talking about the UI and stuff like that, and it's pretty good, pretty sort of straightforward. But that, I guess, because of like, I picked one up as a console like player, and I've seen other people like on Steam Deck channels and stuff like more console players than like PC sort of thing, where it's like, this is your library, this is what's in there, this is not installed, this is not stored, this is the store, this is what's playable on Steam Deck, this is what's like totally verified, this is everything else if you want to check out the other 150 million games on Steam, you can. It feels really nice to hold because it's really big. Like when you first showed it, it's like, oh, that's as big as the Game Gear. It would make the Game Gear look tiny. If you compare it to like the Vita and even the like Switch OLED, it's pretty big, but it doesn't feel heavy or anything like that. It feels really comfy to hold because I know that's one of your things with the Steam. You don't, not Steam's Switch. You don't actually like using it that much in portables. Dave, that's why you got the Pro things because it's slightly comfier.
yes,
oh, what for the Switch?
yes,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Pad
definitely.
Pros.
Yeah, so it's actually like really comfy, the Steam Deck considering the size and stuff like that, and the build quality it seems pretty good. So UI in the unit seem pretty good. So I got like the 256 one, which I the 64 one fill up pretty quick. Like I've like Ghostwire Tokyo I've downloaded, and that's like 23 gigs, so that's like at most of your 64 gig ready, and then obviously fast load times being on the SSD as well.
How much
So
was Ghostwire Tokyo?
I got it for 20 quid.
Okay.
I bought a key for it, so got that. So far I've played on it. Right, so I've played some Bright Memory Infinite, which might sound weird because I played it this year on Switch. There's even a video of that on the channel, but I had access to it because I bought the original Bright Memory on Steam and played it like that. So I've basically to see like compare, because obviously they're both portable systems, they can both be docked and stuff like that. It looks so much better. Right, Memory Infinite, like obviously on the deck screen it's 800p matching up the stream, like everything I think's on high settings and stuff like that. It wants to try to put it at 120 frames a second, but it like goes, it drops. Like the only time you get that is in the loading menu, like screens, like when it plays, like there's all over the place. So tap that to like 60 frames, so you'll put your 800p 60 frames. You got your high settings. It looks great. That sort of thing. And I actually tried, that was the first game I tried docked as well, because I bought the JSOX dock, which I mentioned, was it last podcast or the podcast before,
Yeah.
something like that. So it was the first game I tried docks again, because I've played it on Switch. And I know on like Switch docked, it's like 1080p, 30 frames a second. And I know Digital Foundry, like when they did like the Xbox, PlayStation, and the Switch compared to like the Switch is lower than low settings on like compared to the PC sort of thing. So I thought, right, what's this gonna look like docked? So, sort of thing. So Bright Memory, I got it going at 960p, so that's lower resolution than Switch, but it's still higher than obviously the 800 on the screen. All the settings on high and running at 30 frames on the thing. So, okay, the frame rate's both 30 frames sort of thing, and you have low in the resolution, but obviously the texture is now being on high and that, and it ran, good. It looks, it looks great. So you can compare like that game from the Switch to the Steam Deck. it was an easy, sort of game to compare because I have it on both. It's like, yeah, this looks so much better. And docking the Steam Deck was quite easy. Just obviously, I bought like a third party one. Just plugged in the thing. It just came up on my TV right away. It was like knew it was there pretty much like you would on thing. Yeah, had to play with the settings because obviously it thinks 800p on the screen. You had to change it to the 960 sort of thing. But yeah, so played a bit of that on there, and then I tried a weird one because it was quite a short, small install, and I've had it for a while on my library, and I mainly only because it's from Squeery, and that's the missing JJ Max uh Macfield is a thing. The missing is like its title with its subtitle like that. You have that dot. Think it's running in 4K. It wants to go beyond the 60 frames a second, and it's on the highest textures. Okay, it's a 2D side-scrolling, game, and it's from like 2017. I know it's on Switch, PlayStation, and it's like, yeah, like this. The Steam Deck can like run it. It's like, look, there's no way you could really put it any better. Played like an hour of that. Docked it that played really good, sort of thing. So those are the only two things I've tried docked at the moment: Bright Memory and the missing. Both run, great on that. And then portable player played some Bright Memory on the portal. Like I said, had it at 60 frames a second. Well, I wanted to go beyond that, but the weird oh, it's now at 83 frames a second. It's like, no, just put it at 60, like that. Do cap at that. So play some of that. Then I thought I would try to be clever because, Dave's a big fan of Sleeping Dogs, and I've seen a lot of Steam Deck channels, play Sleeping Dogs, and that game apparently doesn't work on the Steam Deck. So I decided to download Killer is Dead, which I own, which apparently doesn't work on the Steam Deck. Loads up, start playing it, done the first mission. It's like, this runs great. Don't know, it's high settings, 60 frames. It's great. What's wrong with it? Then you get to chapter 2, then some tutorial thing comes up and it crashes, puts you back on the the desktop or the UI. I thought, oh, okay, maybe that's why. And then there's a discussion board and it crashes on episode 2. Someone found a fix because they had a save from episode 4 onwards and it worked fine. And then there's other fixes which are very PC fixes where you have to move the file somewhere else or something that's I can't be bothered doing that. I got other games
Isn't that quite a bad game as well? Wasn't that like a Xbox One, PS4
No,
launch?
it's a 360
No,
game.
you're thinking about
Oh.
13.
Oh god, okay.
Yeah, you're thinking about 13, the cel-shaded shooter. The remaster
Yeah.
was atrocious.
Yeah, which they just remastered again. They've just remastered the remastered. Apparently, it's quite good now. Yeah, so that's obviously one of those games where, with the trial error, with being a PC, where Sleeping Dogs, for instance, seems to be working fine. Maybe it does crash 70% into the game, and that's why it is unsupported. But all the videos of it are showing it works fine. Killer is dead. It looked like it was going to work fine. Didn't. Some people might have found fixes in that. Maybe, Steam or Valve, come and it's yeah, now it's playable. Monkey Island just came out, had no thing for Steam. Now it's totally playable on Steam Deck. Here's the green tick. It's all good. Sort of thing. So Killer of Dead is no go at the moment. And then what else have I played on it? So I played the desktop one. I remember I played on actually played on PC
the Aperture
this year.
desktop,
The tech
demo.
demo.
The tech demo, yeah.
Yeah, I played that because obviously that uses every control method on the Steam Deck. So it uses the buttons on the back as well, the 2 buttons on the back. Uses the trackpads. It uses the thing. Uses the gyro aim as well. That is the Steam Deck and it the different rumble and that. it's a good use of, like you said, a tech demo showing you what the Steam Deck can do, and like, oh, this is what all the different buttons do. This is the gyro aim. Again, it looks really nice on the screen. It looked good even on my PC because it's can't be that intensive game, but looked really good on the thing. And it was like really, small download, and it's free, so why not give it a go and try? Because I don't know how many games they're actually going to use like the gyro controls and stuff like that.
So
People will live.
before we get too deep into Chris just going through his entire Steam library,
Yeah.
Craig, do you have any questions for him about the Steam Deck? No, you stuffed food in your face just as I transitioned to you because
Yeah.
you're a
Yes.
professional.
I was eating on mute. Not really at this point. I mean, his choices of games are very Penguzy. I mean, a Sweary game. I'm pretty sure all of his games are awful. Killer and Dead sounded pretty awful. Like, I mean, this is peak Pengy right here.
Killer is Dead is Suda 51, not Sweary. I know people do get.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's sure. Pengy, I have no idea who any of these people are. All I know is most of the time they seem to make bad games, but
yeah. Well, Killer
there's
Dead
some interesting choices.
Is one of those weird, like I said, it's sort of comparing like the Sleeping Dogs thing, and not the quality of the game,
don't you
but
dare compare Killer is Dead to Sleeping Dogs, don't you dare.
more of like, this game doesn't meant to work. Let's see actually what happens
Doesn't
and
meant
stuff
to
like that.
work, Chris.
And it doesn't.
That's the phrase you just said.
Well, have you learned your lesson now, Pengy? You like, right, if it say they don't work, I'm just not going to bother.
Well, or I guess see if someone's already played it, like a Sleeping Dogs.
He's becoming PC. So, because we're running out of battery life here, we're going to speed this along to my question for you, Pengy. Do you see this becoming your main platform?
Possibly.
That's the most Pengles non-committal answer you could have given me. So
like the day is the day I played the most of it. I played an hour of 40 minutes of Ghostwire Tokyo on this.
So here I'll put it in a Pengles way you can understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So a game comes out.
Yeah.
It's out on Xbox.
Yeah.
It's out on Switch.
Yes.
It's out on Steam. Right.
Yeah.
The Steam Deck verified. They're all the same price.
Yeah.
They're all the same price, and for the sake of this argument, it's not physical on Switch. It's only physical on Xbox.
Okay.
What platform do you buy that game on? If it is, doesn't matter. You play everything on TV, so it doesn't matter about what type of game.
Well, if there's a physical version, I would mostly go for the Xbox version physically.
Okay. So this is the question that really, this is the answer I kind of knew you were going to give me.
Yeah, I've got a question. What's the scenario then?
Where the Steam game.
But this is the answer. So what's the question that this answers? I guess is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let's use Monkey Island for instance. It's just come out. It's on Switch and Steam. I would buy it on the Steam Deck.
It's
digital
only.
It's a digital only release. I would buy it on the Steam Deck over the Switch because it's cheaper on Steam than it is on Switch. And obviously, if you look at Bright Memory Infinite, a game example.
So I think you're forgetting you own an Xbox as well. That's the bit that I think Craig's also.
It runs better on the Steam Deck than the Switch. For instance, Bright Memory Infinite. Monkey Island might be amazing on Switch. It might be 1080p, 60 frames a second, and all full textures, and it's no different on Steam Deck. I don't know until I played it how that compares. But that is for an example, a game example.
So why would you not buy that game on Xbox?
One, because it's not on Xbox.
I meant Bright Memory Infinite.
Because remember I had a review code sent to me on Switch.
But then you just bought it again on Steam.
No, I already owned it on Steam because I bought the original and got it for free.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. You sure Monkey Island is not on Xbox?
No, it's a Switch console exclusive.
That's very strange.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the one scenario. So the game is only on Steam or Switch, but isn't physical. So that's
and like Voice of Cards, for instance, that's on PlayStation, Switch, and obviously on Steam. I bought it on Switch because that's what I bought it on at the time. It's digital only. If like Voice of Cards 4 comes out in February or something, the rate they're going at, that's mostly likely. I would mostly buy that on Steam now.
Okay.
So I can
Yeah.
see like Neon White, I believe, was
I would
Switch
buy that
and
on.
Steam,
I would
and
buy
you
that on
would buy
Steam.
that on Steam, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So just
So
anything
it's
that isn't
basically
physical.
for indies that are only on Steam and Switch.
Not really, because Voice of Cards was on PlayStation and I bought it on Switch.
I feel like you should have probably
Yeah.
bought it on Steam.
Well, yeah, because I didn't have my Steam Deck at the time, so I bought it on Switch.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's very
that's
confusing.
Do you see yourself using it a lot for like AAA stuff? You're gonna you're like, oh, I'll maybe play like God of War or something if it's that's on Steam or
possibly. Like I said, I've played an hour and like 40 minutes of Ghostwire Tokyo on it. Yeah, I've had experience so far. But I've played on it. I've only played it in handheld. I played it while watching like Kind of Funny daily, so I had that on like in the background. Play some Ghostwire Tokyo. Um, it looks pretty. All this like the shadows and all of that malarkey. They're all set to high. It's on the 800p. The sort of thing. The frame rate was only 30 frames, but if you put the FSR on and put it on so and so, and you tweak so and so, and then you cap the Steam Deck's refresh rate to 40 frames. Yeah, I got it running at 40 high settings, 40 frames a second. That's what we got.
When you talk about stuff like this, it makes that Logitech G seem like such a better deal. I'm like, I ain't got to fuck around with drivers and fucking
I never thought we'd have
settings
Chris
and.
Pangeli going on about what was it FRS or I don't even know what I have
FSR.
Do you know what
no
that?
idea what
Do
you're
you know what
talking
that
about.
means, Chris?
Not really, but I know. I
You watched one
looked it up.
Digital Foundry video, so now you're an expert.
So
Yeah,
what like
FSR
you're
2.0.
saying all
Put it on
this,
balance. You can
but if you were
uncap.
to just play it on your PS5, let's say.
I don't.
So
Yeah, I
if
don't know.
Dave, yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but you had one, you sold it. If
Yeah.
Dave was to get the Ghost Runs on his PS5, I'm guessing it would be compatible, exactly the same, but he wouldn't have to mess around with settings. I'm
It
assuming
would
No,
run better on PS5.
you'd
it would
actually have
be
two options. You'd
better.
have a performance where it's 60 frames and a graphics where it's
Yeah, so it
4K
would
but
run
30 frames.
better, and he wouldn't have to mess around with as much. Is what you're
Yes,
saying?
but can he play it while also watching episode of Kind
Yeah,
of Funny
I
Games
could
Day?
remote play it to my phone
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, but
or to a Logitech G, I suspect.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, for me, I personally want you to go with it and do lots of content for the channel based on Steam Deck
Mm,
because that will get lots of numbers. But my curiosity is when you break and buy a PlayStation. That's for me is when it becomes. Then I could see it becoming completely redundant because you'll just buy everything on PlayStation for trophies. So that's my worry for you, Chris, that it's gonna end up
mm,
being sold or thrown to the side and be a bit of a niche thing. I don't want it to. I mean, it'd be cool for you to have a platform that you stick to for the whole duration of, a couple of years. But
mm.
we'll see. I mean, I think me and Craig are both predicting a PlayStation by what middle of next year, at the latest.
No, of course.
If I
If not before then.
if I break and was like, oh, you can buy mine for this much, you'd probably buy it, wouldn't you? So
Mm.
that's it's good to have that
Yeah.
in my pocket when I need some money, though. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh,
and it also like with the scene that like you got that Moonbreakers game coming out, for instance, that is quite good from the Subnautica, team that is, yeah, PC only at the moment. I don't know if it'd be Steam playable or verified or whatever. When that comes out, but you got the options of games like that as well that don't, might make it to console later or whatever, or don't make it to console.
It's hard next. Obviously a lot of games like that, you say like the stuff that's starts on PC does tend to make its way to console. And it is generally stuff like that game that you just mentioned, that's name I've forgotten already, is you don't really mind waiting for. So it's tough, and it's tough to be like, oh yeah, this is because you're Mr. Exclusive, aren't you, Pengy? You love an exclusive. You only talk in exclusives.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it is hard when you try and look for them, and yeah, that's where you have to go for them.
well, we will see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what Pengy does.
Yeah.
Hopefully, as I said, Pengy will do some more videos for the
Yeah, like
channel.
I plan to maybe do like a video on like because there's a video of Bright Memory to record Bright Memory on Steam Deck, put that up, and like you can watch them so side to side. This is what the game looks like on Switch. Just it's like on Steam. that this is on another handheld. Maybe, you know, record some Ghostwire Tokyo, whatever, as well. And I bought Metal Gear Solid Rising on it as well because we planned to all play that. So
It will probably run better on Xbox. But anyway, that has
I
been the
don't know because
show.
it is a 360 game, so
Yeah, and what does the Xbox have for 360 games, Pengy? For a lot of them?
it depends who it has it. Peace Walker doesn't have auto HDR or anything like that, so
Peace Walker's not very good though, is it? So it's fine. But anyway,
no.
I've got 10% battery and I cannot listen to Chris talk about Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid ever again. So thank you for watching the show. Drop a like. Tell us in the comments how long until Pengy sells the Steam Deck and how long until he buys a PS5, and how many times is he going to purchase a game on 3 different consoles. Let us know what you think in the comments below. But yeah, we'll be back next week. What we're going to talk about next week, I simply do not know. But thank you for watching. See you later.
Bye.